everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with none other than Mat Fraser and Tia-Clair Toomey. Hi, guys. They are the fittest people on earth on one computer screen. Matt is the 4-time consecutive reigning CrossFit champion. Tia is the 3-time reigning CrossFit champion. So that's 7 consecutive CrossFit champions at once. So how are you both?
Yeah, I'm good. You know, we're just living that quarantine life at the moment, and trying to embrace every moment that we have.
Where are you guys?
So we are in Kentucky right now. You know, just with all the gyms shut down, we figured, okay, we can't use an affiliate anyway, so we might as well make the best of it. So we came out to a buddy's lodge. It's usually run as a lodge for rock climbers. So half the house is set up like a regular house with kitchen, living space, all of that. And then the other half is a full hallway of dorm rooms. So we kind of just moved in here and brought all our equipment with us. So Shane's here with Tia, Sammy came with myself, and so we're just kind of congregating as a big unit.
Are these your bunk beds here behind you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We grab one of the spare rooms that has good Wi-Fi.
Is there a particular games or a particular event where the two of you have felt, really felt more pressure than ever, or has it just been kind of every event and every games has its ups and downs, and then in the end it's okay?
I think for me, probably the most this is just kind of off the top of my head, but I would have to say the last event of this last year was probably the most pressure. It was either the last event or the swim event was the most pressure I've ever dealt with. It was the first time in a long time that it came down to one event. Every other year, 2016, 17, 18, every year going into the final event, I had to hit the minimum work requirement, and it was a win. In 2015 was the last time I was put in a position of this final workout, you need to win it type thing. It's either you win it all or you lose it all. There's not like, okay, I'll just have to perform better on the next event or anything like that. And in 2015, I was walking into it with a terrible attitude, and I just don't think I knew how to approach it properly. I didn't have the confidence to. Whereas this year, I went into it and it was like, your entire year of work can be for nothing in this event, or you can show everyone why you're going to win. So this year, I know I was in a much more comfortable place going on the floor. It was a ton of pressure, a ton of nerves, but at the same time, I thought, good, everyone for a couple of years now has been saying you don't do well under pressure. And I've been thinking internally, well, just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean I'm not good at it. Like, okay, good. This is the perfect opportunity to show you that just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean I'm not good at it. And that workout, if all the chips are on the table, that's definitely not the workout that I'm choosing for myself. But even more so, I thought, good. I don't want these other competitors to have an excuse of, that final workout was teed up for Matt or whatever. It was a great opportunity to showcase my abilities, I guess,
Same question to you, Tia?
Yeah, I think that each year provides something different and something unique in its own way. And for me, Matt brought up a couple of moments in his life, and it's funny because, I've been thinking of, my very first year, I went out and I was sitting fourth, and Like I just didn't want to come last that year. And so I think that was probably one of the most crazy feelings I've ever had, where I didn't know how to control the pressure or my emotions really. And so I think I went out so hot that I just didn't leave anything in the tank at the end, which allowed me to actually come second. And, you know, after that experience, I think I really felt like I thrived off pressure. And so that was something that gave me a lot of confidence. And I often think about that moment, you know, would I still be doing what I'm doing now? And, you know, I've had the career I've had. So that was definitely a moment where pressure was definitely seeping in, and to try and figure out how to control that.
Tia, what do you think, what would you say Matt's greatest strength is in your kind of unique position of kind of like training with him every day, and especially at the moment, like very much being in each other's pockets? What would you say his best strength is?
I'm solely focused on what I'm doing, and so it's really oh, hey, how's it going? Yeah, good. You know, it's just a passing through. So when I finally got to actually meet Matt and, you know, see him and be around him and understand who he is as a person, it became very apparent to me why and how he is being the 4-time fittest man in the world. And in my opinion, the fittest man that will ever be or ever has been at the CrossFit Games. And the persona and the work ethic and everything that he brings to the table is just so dominating that, you know, I wouldn't just be saying this. It's actually awkward saying this while he's right here.
Whilst you're in your bunk bed is nice.
But, you know, he puts in the work and he doesn't leave any stone unturned. And I think that, you know, his dominance and his determination that he provides is one amazing for me, because it's just challenging me on a daily basis and making me better. But it really goes to show why he is the person he is and what he has achieved. And I've never seen anyone or anything like it. And it's pretty special to be around and to be witnessing.
That's amazing. Let's keep this awkward thing going. Matt, what would you say Tia's biggest strength is?
So I've actually been asked this quite a few times, you know, by a lot of people who are close to me, because over the last 5 or 6 years, I've almost exclusively trained with the female competitors. You know, I just found it easier for both parties. You know, I think because we're not direct competitors, you know, the guard gets brought down. We're not worried about, you know, sharing trade secrets or anything like that. So I've just found it a more comfortable atmosphere. And so I've trained with just about all of the top women in the sport quite a bit. And, you know, and training with Tia, it was almost immediately apparent that it wasn't going to be the same. You know, I think the most obvious part, and I think a piece that the spectators can see very obviously, is that there's no holes in the game. And so, you know, in training, there would be, you know, we'd always be going back and forth until that one event showed up, and then I would just like run away with it. So that's the big thing, is that Tia is so well-rounded, there aren't any holes. So for me in training, that's a huge piece, but I think the spectators can see that. The part that I don't think spectators can see, and we'll see how Tia responds to this, is just her mentality. What the spectators and the fans see is a very PG rated version of Tia. You know, she's very polished. when she knows people are going to see. But it's just a mentality, like an aggressiveness that I've never seen. Competitor. It's we're just training partners. It never comes up of, oh, I'm a girl, so this or that. It's almost like a mere. I've never trained with someone with the same like aggressiveness going into each workout. The aggressiveness when it's time to grind and you're miserable and you're not getting a pat on the back because you're doing a good job and you're ahead of the next person. It's you get to see someone's true character when they're not in the ideal situation, and it's so to see that fight come out of her. I think she has a fight that doesn't compare to anyone else. Sorry, I hope all that rambling made sense.
It made perfect sense. Are you just on a slightly different tack? I've seen quite a lot of practical joking with you guys and sort of like playing pranks on each other. Is that still happening in quarantine?
Well, it wasn't, but thanks for reminding her.
Yeah, you should do that. Yeah, you should.
It's okay. Actually, last night he was up late and he didn't know I was there, and it crossed my mind to angle the camera and make sure that I go and scare him at like 1 o'clock in the morning. But I decided not to. I didn't want him to have a heart attack.
Yeah, that's not good.
And maybe perceive that we scare each other. No,
yeah.
It's all one-sided.
No, I think it was clear that it was one-sided from all the stuff on Instagram. Don't worry. The obviously the games season, like with all sports, is kind of quite up in the air at the moment. A lot of sports are just taking the year off. At the moment, it seems as though there will be some form of CrossFit Games, possibly in a Romus, on a smaller scale, no fans. Does that make a difference to you guys? I mean, if it's a competition, it's a competition you want to win, or how do you feel about kind of the lack of any more sanctionals and so on?
Well, I mean, if the games is going to be in a Romus, we'll bring it on. Personally, I just think it doesn't matter where it is, who's there, as long as the best competitors in the world are there that we get to compete against. That's all that I care about. We're going to be there and we're going to be ready to win it.
Yeah, I think for me, where it is, who's there for spectators, I couldn't care. If you want to call it unease or just anything like that, was only coming from the uncertainty. So the fact that they released like, hey, the games are still happening, they're going to be in a Romus. After that, I don't think we know. I don't think any other details have been released. But for me, it's just like, okay, training as usual. Nothing's different. I have a soft spot for spectators that, that's their highlight. They really look forward to that event. For a lot of spectators, that's also their big event where they get to showcase new products, or they just get to be in the public's eye. I have a soft spot for them. That's very unfortunate, but in the same breath, it's the whole world's dealing with a situation that we've never dealt with before. So everyone's very understanding. Everyone's kind of dealing with the same problems that no one has the answer for because we've never dealt with it. So in that sense, it's very unfortunate. In the competition sense, it's business as usual.
We can only focus on what we can control, and that's our preparation leading into the games.
And is that preparation the same as normal? I mean, you just kind of training is training, and you can just focus on the day to day and week to week sort of thing, and take your mind off kind of what may or may not be.
Well, this isolation process, I had to cancel a handful of events that I would be traveling to, which in return actually affects your training routine, and you have to kind of catch back up on sleep and, you know, dial in your nutrition more and stuff. And what this isolation has provided is the consistency of having that routine. And so I feel like I'm fitter, I'm stronger, and I'm in much more of a solid routine than what I would have been.
How are you guys? What are you guys doing on your day? Do you have any days off in training at the moment? And what are you doing?
I mean, so this lodge we're staying at, it's out in the middle of nowhere. So like not really any neighbors. No, I think the closest grocery store is like a 45 minute or an hour drive. But you know, we're surrounded by people that, you know, even if there wasn't a quarantine going on, these are the people that we want to be around. So, you know, it's just like a summer at camp, you know, lots of puzzles. We all have a good stack of books.
In the UK, well, everywhere really, people are watching a lot of Netflix and box sets. Is there anything that you guys have seen recently that you'd recommend to anyone listening?
Have you heard of this thing called The Fittest?
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great watch. Also, The Last Dance. We watched that doco on Sunday night live. So that was
yeah.
So we can't wait for Sunday again.
Yeah, I think early on in the quarantine, you know, I was like treating it like a vacation, and so you know, I watched all the trashy TV, and then I realized, like, wow, I just had the most unproductive week ever. And
what are you guys up to now? What's next after this?
We're actually going to go and warm up and start training. Might have something to eat first.
Yeah, that's always a benefit. Matt, you probably had about 5 cups of coffee by now, so you're probably fine.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, I'll let you go and get on with that. But thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure, and good luck surviving lockdown and quarantine. And you guys seem fine in your bunks. So thank you again, and I hope to speak to you again soon.
Yeah. Thanks so much, mate.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.